Hey guys, today we're going to talk about what to do if your prompts get declined on PromptBase, how to solve this problem. So PromptBase doesn't just accept any prompts we give to it, and you cannot just list anything you want. Prompts go through a process of verification and approval. So before submitting your prompt, I always recommend to first go and read the prompt submission guidelines that I'll link below. They're on the PromptBase website. But today, I'm going to be going through the top reasons why my prompts were declined before, and I'll be showing you on the practical examples how you can fix those prompts step by step so you know how to bring your not so good prompts that probably happen to all of us to a better quality. So one important point here is PromptBase always specifies what exactly went wrong and why did they decline your prompt. They send you an email and there is a reason, and the reason is one of the rules stated in the prompt submission guidelines. So let's go through a couple of these reasons and clearly see what can be done in case your prompt was declined. So the most popular reason why your prompt could be declined is because your prompt is too specific. From the submission guidelines, we have this rule that says a general rule of thumb is a prompt is too niche for PromptBase if it's trying to combine more than 3 ideas or has 3 ideas but one of those ideas is too niche. What does it mean that the prompt is too specific? So in this exact case, this was the prompt that got declined, and what's happening here is we have people reading books during evening hours, and it seems very consistent and all pictures are very similar in style. But first of all, we only have people here, so there is no variety in terms of which characters we have. There's only people of different ages, but only people. So if somebody comes and sees this prompt, maybe they're looking for creating a character that would do something in this setting, but they don't see characters here. They don't see any fictional aliens, monkeys, and they might not be interested because they don't know if we can vary that prompt so much. The second thing is the time of the day. It's always the same. You see, it's one of those 3 points that we were looking at here, 3 ideas. So one of those ideas, the second one, is the fact that everything is happening in the evening hours with a similar setting. The third idea is that they all read books. There is just one action. So if you would put yourself into the shoes of the customer, the prompt we are looking at here is a bit too specific. It's basically producing a scenario that is very rare to happen and to be asked for from a customer. That's why in this case the prompt was declined, and that's why we can fix it by making the prompt more variable and therefore making it suit more scenarios. And let's see how we can do that. So step 1, let's make this prompt more customizable. As for example here, we are changing the action that the person is doing. They're no longer only reading the book, but we introduce different actions. For example, cooking dinner. So before we just had, reading books. Now we do cooking dinner, we do playing the guitar. You can also play with adjusting the character of this prompt and changing them to introduce something else than people. For example, a Frankenstein monster or a little dog or a puppy. Here I have a small puppy having dinner. So we introduce both the character difference and the activity difference. Here we have Groot chilling on the sofa. So I tried to take different characters, animals, so that not only people are displayed. And here's what we got. We got a cat here. But as you can see, the prompt consistency is being kept, and the visual look of all of these results is the same, which means that the prompt consistently produces very similar results, but the characters, the activities can be changed. And so after you generate more of those examples, you then put them all into the 9 images you're uploading to PromptBase, and this is much more likely to be accepted because this has a variety of things for the customer to do and to modify. So this is how we fix prompts that are too specific. And don't forget to keep those variables in your text prompt that you'll be selling so the people know how to change both of these variables to make sure that they can modify the character and modify their activity. The 9 images that you are showing in your store are actually the only way for the customer to understand how variable your prompt is and how many different scenarios it can be applied to. Remember that they don't see your prompt, the actual text of the prompt, before they bought it. So the only way for you to illustrate how varied it is, how it's applicable to different cases, is to actually put in images into the 9 images and put in different scenarios there. Another reason why your prompt could be declined on PromptBase is called no use case. No use case is presented in PromptBase guidelines as if your prompt was declined for a no use case reason. This means we have not deemed the prompt to have enough of a use case from a potential buyer to be sold on PromptBase. So basically, nobody needs it. Maybe it's technically correct, maybe it's not bad, maybe it looks good, but they don't think anybody would need it. And this sometimes happens. With me, it happened with this prompt where I wanted to display different perfume bottles. I still think it visually looks very appealing, but yeah, if you think about it, there is no use case where these pictures would probably be used without, getting into copyright trouble. And basically, those perfumes don't exist. So if you look into the brand catalogs, you would not find these perfumes. This is just a stylistic idea. So what I would do with them is I would try to get rid of the brand names here, first of all, to correct it, because then you could present them as just perfume bottle mock-ups, which people can use for inspiration. Perfume bottle designers could use for, making some sketches and getting inspired. So that would work. Or product photographers, for example, could use sets like these and could put their own brand names on the bottles. I don't know. But this didn't work. And if you'd like to maybe check how this prompt was made, I can send it to you. Just write me in the comments down below and I'll share how I made it, because I still feel like it's a beautiful prompt, but I cannot do anything with it, so it's a shame. And here I'm showing you exactly what I meant. So there are prompts with perfume bottles on the website. This prompt, for example, doesn't feature any brand names and, as I told, can be used for inspiration, or this prompt in somewhat of a different style. And also this prompt that can clearly be used well for product mockup. These would work. And this is no use case. Always try to think how your prompt's going to be used. Try to step in to the shoes of the user. The third reason why prompts can get declined is that prompts are too easily guessable. If we believe that a user would be able to quickly reproduce images or text in the same way just by looking at the title or example outputs of your prompt, then we will decline it. And this is also stated in the prompt submission guidelines. So usually, I think from experience, this is related to prompts that are too short. And by too short, I mean something that is less than 20 words. So I think perfect prompts should be around 20 words and more, might be much more. Something after 10 is probably acceptable, but it's always better to do it a bit longer. And in my case, this was the prompt that PromptBase didn't approve, which actually produce also very consistent results. And as you can see, I have different types of characters and scenes depicted here. But to create it, I used a very short prompt, which basically says haunted by aliens, Persian illuminated illustration. And in the beginning, you put a little description of a scene. So, for example, a devil, haunted by aliens, Persian illuminated illustration. And this is what created these pictures. To be honest, I don't know how much an outsider person could guess exactly these words, haunted by aliens, Persian illustration. But the thing is, this is really too little words. 6 words and a description of a scene barely gets us 10 words all in total. So to solve this, One way is to make your prompt slightly more complex with giving it more adjectives, more verbs, but also I understand that sometimes it's not helping because the results can become less consistent in that case. And this style that is achieved by only 6 words is probably not achievable as easily if I would start adding different adjectives, adding different details here. It would produce something else because this is how Midjourney usually works. So my idea for these prompts is to add more parameters. You have in Midjourney, I'll leave a link below, you have a list of different parameters that you can make your prompt more difficult with. So, for example, you could emphasize the quality of the prompt. You could create an aspect ratio that would enable people to change what aspect ratios of these pictures they would like to use. You could add other different parameters like no, for example, for something you don't want to see in the picture. And I'll leave the list of parameters down below. So if you add more parameters here, like for example, style, stylize, aspect ratio, all of this makes the prompt more difficult to guess and more complex and increases your chances of the prompt being accepted in PromptBase. So these were the 3 prompt declining reasons that I experienced myself most on PromptBase. If you have other declining reasons that you get from PromptBase and you don't know what to do with them, please put them in the comments and I'll try and look into them and see how those can be helped. Thank you so much for watching and I see you in my future videos. Happy prompting! Bye bye.